You're constantly bombarded with information, aren't you? So today, we're cutting through the noise. We want to bring you the core insights from this, well, massive trove of sources on operational excellence, business improvement, and efficiency. Our mission in this deep dive is really to demystify these powerful concepts, extract the most impactful knowledge, and, give you a real shortcut. A shortcut to understanding how organizations achieve world-class performance.
And why it matters.
Exactly. And why these principles are incredibly relevant to you. Whether you're leading a team, just curious about how successful businesses operate, or maybe even seeking more personal efficiency, there's definitely something here. Okay, let's unpack this.
It is truly a comprehensive collection of materials. And what stands out immediately, I think, is how it weaves together all these different methodologies. Things that might, seem separate at first glance.
Right.
This deep dive should reveal their common threads, their overarching purpose. Show how they all kind of contribute to a singular goal.
And trust me, by the end of this, you'll likely have some significant aha moments. You'll see how seemingly small focused changes can lead to massive improvements.
Yeah.
We're talking quality, cost, speed.
Tangible, yeah. Sometimes surprising impacts.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So let's begin at the very foundation. What exactly is business excellence? BizEx, as it's sometimes called. Our sources define it pretty clearly. Consistently performing better than the competition. And that's across key operational dimensions like, flexibility, innovation, price, quality, delivery, service, all the big ones.
It means excelling at the fundamentals, too. Things like managing assets properly, introducing new products effectively, handling demand.
Right. At its core, it's about continuous improvement, isn't it? Improving systems, cycle times, operating margins, asset returns, and maybe most importantly, customer satisfaction.
Well, and what's truly insightful about how the sources put it is the holistic vision. It's not just one piece.
Good point.
The goal is framed as getting the right things to the right place, in the right quantities, at the right time, and at the desired quality the first time, and it goes on, while minimizing waste and being open to embrace change. That's quite a mouthful, but it covers everything.
It really does encapsulate that constant pursuit of perfection across the whole system. That's a vital distinction. And you might be asking, okay, how does this translate to my everyday work? Or maybe even your personal life?
Yeah, what's in it for me?
Exactly. The sources lay out the direct benefits very clearly. For instance, it simplifies processes. That makes jobs easier, less frustrating, more fulfilling for employees.
Yeah.
Right? Which often leads to lower turnover.
That makes sense.
It dramatically improves product quality because you're forced to define, simplify, standardize, and control your processes better.
And for the organization as a whole.
Well, it means increased throughput, productivity, that improves deliveries, can even unlock new capacity, potentially more sales. It encourages smaller production lots, which is huge for slashing inventory waste, quality issues, production delays.
Right, those hidden costs.
All these efficiencies make organizations just plain more competitive. You're reducing waste, lead time, total cost, resource usage. You can pass savings on to customers.
And there's a critical point in the sources, too, about jobs, isn't there?
Yes, absolutely. They emphasize it helps save jobs by making companies competitive. The flip side is neglecting these principles. That could lead to work moving offshore. It's a stark warning.
So it directly connects to tangible outcomes for you, the listener. Imagine workflows that are just, smoother, more efficient.
Yeah.
The satisfaction of knowing your work is clearer, more impactful, or the pride of contributing directly to your organization's competitive edge. These aren't abstract ideas. They translate into real-world benefit.
So, if that's the what and the why, how do organizations actually achieve this operational excellence? Our sources introduce something called the Lean-MBA as a core unifying framework.
Precisely. Lean-MBA. That stands for Lean Management Business Architecture.
Yep.
And it isn't just another buzzword,
Okay.
It's presented as this overarching framework, one that strategically incorporates a whole variety of best-in-class practices you've probably heard thrown around.
Like what?
Things like theory of constraints, lean itself, obviously, Six Sigma, total quality management, even things like training within industry, the balanced scorecard. It's about intelligently integrating these powerful methodologies, not just picking one.
Okay, integrating them. And the sources detail, I think it was 5 core components, things that make this Lean MBA framework effective for long-term transformation, not just quick fixes. First, it gives you a structured approach to genuinely engage all employees in the lean journey, not just top-down. Second, it builds a robust foundation So those hard-won gains, they're sustained over the long haul. You avoid that common problem of initiatives just fizzling out.
Right.
Third, it specifically builds capability at the management level, equipping leaders to actually champion and guide these OpEx strategies effectively.
They need the tools to.
Fourth, yeah, it includes practical tools and techniques, supporting the effective application of best practices through a disciplined project management methodology. And finally, maybe most importantly, it helps build a continuous improvement culture, pervasive across the whole organization, embedding that mindset of constant betterment.
And, this framework really strongly echoes what Dr. Deming, a giant in quality management, called constancy of purpose.
Ah, yes, his first point.
It is his first of 14 points. Maintaining that unwavering focus on the important long-term vision. It means, continually improving products and service to society, making strategic resource decisions for future needs, not just chasing short-term profits, all with a clear plan to stay in business and provide stable jobs. It's a profound commitment to the future, isn't it? Not just the next quarter.
It really is. One thing that just jumps out from the sources is how many different names these business excellence systems have had over the years.
Oh, absolutely.
We see TPS, Lean, Agile Manufacturing, Flexible Manufacturing, Six Sigma, Lean Sigma, TQM, WCM, TOC. I mean, the list goes on. It almost feels like a new management fad pops up every decade.
It really does seem that way sometimes. The sources actually use a perfect analogy here, the parable of the elephant and the blind men.
Ah, I know that one.
Yeah, each person touches a different part of the elephant, the trunk, the leg, the tail, and describes it differently, but it's still the same elephant, right?
Right.
The core message is crystal clear. It is not what you call it that counts, but why and how you do it that really matters. If you look at the timeline, you see this evolution of emphasis.
How so?
Well, the 1970s saw QC circles. Then the 80s introduced JIT and Kanban. The 90s brought us Kaizen. And by the 2000s, the focus kind of refined down to flow and value stream mapping. Different terms, sure, but all driven by that same underlying pursuit of operational excellence.
And so many brilliant minds contributed to these evolving ideas. Our sources highlight a few key figures we should probably mention.
Definitely.
Dr. W. Edwards Deming, as you said, he's foundational.
Yeah.
Especially with his emphasis on constancy of purpose.
Yeah.
Then there's Richard J. Schonberger. He essentially originated world-class manufacturing, or WCM.
Right, based on his studies in Japan.
Exactly. His insights came from studying Japanese manufacturing, particularly the Kawasaki motorcycle plant in Lincoln, Nebraska, of all places. His books, Japanese Manufacturing Techniques back in '82 and World-Class Manufacturing in '86, they laid a huge blueprint for many companies, deeply rooted in the Toyota production system.
Influential stuff.
And we absolutely have to talk about Dr. Eliyahu Goldratt, the developer of the theory of constraints, TOC.
Ah, the goal. A classic.
Absolutely. His theory posits that every single profit-making organization, no matter how efficient it seems, has at least one constraint holding back higher performance. If you don't tackle that constraint, you're just spinning your wheels elsewhere. His famous 5 steps of the TOC guide you through it. First, identify the system constraint. Second, exploit it, get the absolute most out of it as it is. Third, subordinate everything else to support that constraint. Fourth, elevate the constraint, add more capacity or resources to it. And fifth, critically, return to step 1, because once you fix one bottleneck, another will pop up.
But beware of inertia.
Exactly. He warns about the tendency to just stick with the old ways even after the constraint moves. The goal illustrates this so well.
And when we connect these figures, Deming, Schonberger, Goldratt, and their frameworks, it's really about finding these fundamental truths about how systems work and how to continuously improve them.
Different lenses on the same problem.
Precisely. They offer different yet complementary lenses to view and solve complex problems, all driving towards that shared objective of operational excellence. And the crucial thing here is that these aren't just academic theories, they're actionable blueprints for better performance.
Okay, now this is where it gets really practical, right?
Right.
Let's open up the toolbox. Let's look at the specific methodologies and tools highlighted in the sources. We can look at them through the lens of how they address the principles we've just been talking about.
Sounds good. Let's start with Lean itself. At its heart, Lean is an ever-evolving philosophy. It's based on proven principles and practices, all fundamentally aimed at the relentless elimination of wastes.
Relentless elimination, I like that.
It's a continuous process, and it truly has to involve everyone in the organization. Central to Lean are the 3 M's of waste. You might have heard of these.
Muda, Mira, Miri?
That's them. First, Muda. That's any activity consuming resources without creating value for the customer. Think of it as just pure waste. Then there's mirror. That refers to unevenness or fluctuation in an operation, like, bursts of hurrying followed by periods of waiting, inconsistency.
Yeah.
And finally, muri. That's about overburdening equipment or operators, pushing them beyond sustainable limits, burnout, breakdowns. That's muri.
Got it, yeah.
And the Toyota Production System, TPS, which is really the bedrock of lean, it isn't just a collection of tools or catchy phrases.
It's more fundamental.
Exactly. It's built on 3 foundational pillars. First, just in time. Making and delivering precisely what's needed, when it's needed, in the exact amount needed. Second, jidoka. This is about building quality directly into the process, stopping production immediately when a defect occurs, making problems visible.
And the third?
And third, perhaps the most critical, respect for people. This is vital. It means empowering employees, valuing their input, fostering a culture where they feel safe to identify problems and propose solutions. TPS is about culture development and sustaining that culture.
So those pillars are supported by Lean's guiding principles, right?
Yes. Customer-first philosophy, highest quality service, lowest cost, fastest lead time. And like we just said, that unwavering respect for people, it's a profound cultural shift, not just a set of techniques you implement once.
That emphasis on waste.
Yeah.
It really is key. The sources mentioned something astonishing, that traditional companies can have something like 96% waste.
It's staggering when you think about it.
Compared to world-class companies who manage to get it down below 40%, it just makes you think about how much hidden inefficiency exists everywhere. The sources detail these 8 hidden wastes, often remembered by the acronym downtime. And what's really insightful, I think, is how many of these aren't just about physical production. They're about information flow, communication, underusing people.
Right, it's broader than just the factory floor.
Definitely. So let's run through them quickly. D is for defects, rejects, scrap, corrections, even things like parts mismatch or poor instructions.
Okay.
O is overproduction, making more than required, whether it's work in progress or finished goods, keeping machines running just because, buffer stocks, production not driven by actual demand.
The worst kind of waste, some say.
Yeah, it hides so many other problems.
Okay.
W is waiting. People waiting for information, approvals, machines, materials. Machines waiting for materials, people, changeovers, just dead time. N is non-effective use of talent. This one's huge. Underutilization of expertise, skills, creativity, innovation, leadership, motivation, drive.
Wasted human potential.
Exactly. T is transportation. Unnecessary movement of materials and information, poor layout, large batch sizes, clunky warehouse systems. I is inventory, more than what's needed. Excess WIP or finished goods, often due to supplier unreliability, poor planning, even excessive emails, or too many digital files nowadays.
Inventory hides problems too.
It does. M is motion, movement of people that doesn't add value, looking for tools, information. Poor layout again, poor housekeeping. And E is excessive processing. Doing more than required that doesn't add customer value, more steps than needed, excessive paperwork, lack of clear communication causing rework. And the sources also mention other wastes, like inappropriate systems, wasted energy or water, wasted materials, service and office wastes, even wasting customer time or having defecting customers. It forces you to look everywhere, doesn't it?
It really broadens your perspective on what waste actually means. And this immediately raises an interesting point, or maybe a question for you listening. While Lean zeroes in on that waste elimination and reducing cycle time, Six Sigma, by contrast, focuses really intently on quality and reducing variability, the inconsistencies. Slightly different focuses, but both ultimately aim to satisfy the customer, right? So the question becomes which focus, or maybe which combination, aligns most closely with your current challenges. The beauty is the sources offer tools that address both angles.
Okay, so let's dive into some of those specific tools in the Lean toolbox then. They often build on each other, don't they? Creating a kind of synergy.
They absolutely do. Applying one often makes the next one easier or more effective.
Right. So first up, let's consider total quality management, TQM. What's the core idea there?
TQM is really a philosophy, more than just a program. Total means everyone in the organization across all activities is involved. Quality simply means conforming to requirements consistently. And management signifies that quality isn't accidental. It can and absolutely must be systematically managed.
So it's about embedding this continuous process, this philosophy of perpetual improvement throughout the entire organization.
Exactly. It evolved over time. The sources mention a historical view, from just having an artisan to an inspector then focusing on the process itself, and finally to this continuous improvement focus.
Okay. And as you think about how you embed that quality and continuous improvement, the sources bring up something called training within industry, TWI, particularly its 3J programs. These sound kind of old school.
They originated during World War II, actually, to rapidly train a new workforce. But the principles, they are timeless and incredibly relevant for any manager or team leader today. They teach fundamental skills.
Like what? What are the 3Js?
Okay, first is job instruction, JI. This taught supervisors how to methodically and effectively teach workers complex jobs. It's essentially teaching how to teach so people learn quickly and correctly.
That sounds useful.
Incredibly. Second is job methods, JM. This equipped supervisors to objectively analyze jobs for improvements. The goal: produce greater quantities of quality products in less time by systematically improving the way work is done.
Makes sense. And the third?
The third is job relations, JR. This focused on teaching supervisors how to treat people as individuals. It emphasized fair, respectful treatment, handling conflicts constructively. Absolutely crucial skills, especially for new leaders. Building trust.
Treating people as individuals, that connects back to the respect for people pillar in TPS, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's a recurring theme.
Okay, so connecting these ideas to the modern world, the sources highlight agile manufacturing. What does agile mean in this context? It's not just about speed, is it?
No, it's more than speed. It's defined as the ability to thrive in constant, unpredictable change. Think about global competition, fragmented markets, customers demanding low volume, high quality, custom products with short life cycles. Agility is about being nimble, responsive, adaptable in that environment.
And that sounds closely related to flexible manufacturing.
It is. The sources list the top drivers for flexible manufacturing: improving response to market demand, that was cited by 54%, better managing variability in the supply chain, 44%, and reducing manufacturing costs, also 44%.
Interesting.
And it's notable, the sources say 75% of manufacturers use lean primarily as a cost reduction tool, but flexibility often goes hand in hand with that cost reduction. They enable each other.
Right. Now, for getting really precise and consistent, statistical process control, SPC, comes up. This sounds, well, statistical.
It is, but the goal is powerful. The aim is often stated as less than 3.4 defects per million opportunities. That translates to, what, 99.99999666667% quality, almost perfect.
Wow, 3.4 defects per million. To really grasp that level of precision, the sources give some eye-opening comparisons, don't they?
They do, and they really hit home, like 16,000 pieces of mail lost by the U.S. Postal Service every hour.
Good grief.
Or 32,000 missed heartbeats per year per person, or 20,000 incorrect drug prescriptions per year in the U.S. alone.
So SPC gives you the tools to aim for near perfection, which is a stark contrast to those everyday error rates we sometimes just accept.
Exactly. It's about understanding and controlling variation.
Okay. And when you're facing a specific problem, the sources present DMAIC as a structured project management tool for actually solving it. How does that work?
DMAIC isn't just linear. It's a cycle designed for continuous improvement. It stands for define. Define the problem or the opportunity clearly. What are you trying to achieve? Measure. Measure the current performance. Get a baseline. Collect data. Analyze. Analyze that data to find the root causes, not just the symptoms. Why is this happening? Improve. Develop and implement solutions to eliminate those root causes. Fix the process. And control. This is key. Put measures in place to sustain the gains and prevent the problem from coming back.
Define, measure, analyze, improve, control. A cycle. And the sources list various tools for each phase, right? Like SIPOC diagrams for define, fishbone diagrams for analyze.
Exactly. Tools like value stream mapping might fit in define or measure, FMEA or Pareto charts and analyze, things like Kanban or mistake proofing and improve, and control charts or standard operating procedures in control. It provides structure.
Speaking of value stream mapping, VSM, that sounds really useful for visualization.
It's incredibly powerful and often simpler than people think. It's basically a visual tool. You draw out the flow. It helps you see the waste, create a shared vision for improvement, and focus your efforts.
How does it work?
You map both the information flow and the product flow, along with all the associated wastes, the waiting times, the inventory buildups, all the way from your supplier through your processes to your customer.
And you map the current state first.
Yes, that's critical. You map the current state, how things actually work now, warts and all, and then you design an improved future state based on lean principles. That future state map becomes your guide for improvements. It really helps you see the flow and pinpoint exactly where it breaks down or gets clogged up.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, something you hear about all the time, almost a prerequisite for any lean journey, is 5S.
Ah, yes. 5S, absolutely foundational. It's a systematic way to create a safe, efficient, and highly visible workspace. It's often the starting point for continuous improvement efforts.
And Taiichi Ohno, the father of the Toyota production system, had a strong quote about it.
He did. He famously said, "If you can't master 5S, forget all of the rest." It highlights its importance as a bedrock discipline.
So what are the 5S's? Can we quickly run through them?
Sure. First is sort. Sari. Go through everything in the work area. Remove unused tools, obsolete materials, clutter. If in doubt, sort it out. Second, set in order. Satan. A place for everything and everything in its place. Arrange necessary items logically so they're easy to find, use, and return. Think shadow boards, labeled locations.
Makes sense.
Third, shine, say so. Clean the workplace thoroughly and regularly. Cleaning often doubles as inspection. You spot leaks, loose bolts, potential problems. Fourth, standardize, seiketsu. Create visual controls and guidelines to maintain the first 3 S's. Standard procedures for cleaning, organizing, sorting, make it the new normal. And fifth, sustain, shitsuke. This is about discipline, training, reinforcement, regular audits, making 5S a habit, part of the culture. Keep it going.
Sort, set in order, shine, standardize, sustain. Seems simple, but discipline is key.
Absolutely. And from 5S, it's a really natural progression to visual management.
Making things obvious.
Exactly. It's a communication strategy based on that old principle. A picture is worth 1,000 words. It uses visual cues to communicate information quickly and clearly.
What are the benefits?
Oh, many.
Yeah.
It increases communication, helps reduce overproduction by making inventory levels visible, helps address problems faster because deviations stand out, reduces accidents, boosts employee awareness. Think visual metrics boards, tool outlines on pegboards, flow indicators like and-on lights.
And-on lights, that connects to Jidoka, right? Making problems visible.
Precisely. Visual cues often help detect and highlight issues automatically, sometimes even halting a process if a defect occurs, allowing for immediate attention.
Okay. Another critical aspect for efficiency is getting the most out of your equipment. That's where total productive maintenance, TPM, comes in, I believe.
Yes, TPM. It's a system designed to maximize equipment effectiveness over its entire life cycle. It involves everyone, not just the maintenance department.
How so?
Well, it involves planned upkeep, obviously, but it crucially broadens the scope of maintenance to include operators through what's called autonomous maintenance, where operators do routine checks, cleaning, lubrication. It also involves IT, management. Everyone plays a role in keeping equipment running optimally.
And there's a key metric associated with TPM, OEE.
Right. Overall equipment effectiveness. OEE. It's a powerful metric, a real cornerstone of TPM. It's calculated as basically the ratio of fully productive time to planned production time, or more formally, production time for quality parts, divided by available production time.
And it helps pinpoint losses.
Exactly. It helps you identify and categorize the 6 big time losses that eat into your productivity. Things like idle time, setup time, equipment breakdowns, running at reduced speed, producing defects, and other miscellaneous stops. OEE gives you a clear picture of where your equipment effectiveness is being lost.
Okay. Now, to ensure things are done consistently and predictably, the sources emphasize standardized work. What's the essence of that?
Standardized work is a really methodical approach. It's about developing consistent processes by identifying the best-known way to do a job right now. It specifies the ideal combination of task elements, the sequence, the timing, the personnel, equipment, materials, all while aggressively minimizing waste.
So it's like a recipe for doing a specific task.
Kind of, yeah. But it's not meant to be rigid forever. It provides that essential baseline for improvement. You can't improve a process consistently if everyone's doing it differently each time, right?
Good point.
So, standardized work provides operational stability. Tasks are performed the same way every time, which directly improves quality, efficiency, and safety. It becomes the foundation upon which you build further improvements, like Kaizen.
Ah, Kaizen. That's another term you hear a lot. Continuous improvement. Right?
Yes, Kaizen is really an ideology, a philosophy emphasizing the continuous, incremental need for improvement. And crucially, it's about instilling this mindset in all staff, from the CEO down to the frontline worker. Everyone looking for small ways to make things better every day.
And sometimes they do focused events, Kaizen blitzes.
Exactly. A Kaizen Blitz workshop is a concrete way to rapidly improve a specific area or process over a short period, maybe 3 to 5 days, using a dedicated team and applying various lean tools intensively. It's high energy, high impact, and it powerfully reinforces the idea that people are the foundation of improvement. Their ideas drive the change.
Okay. Now, shifting gears slightly to scheduling. There's production leveling, or hijunka. How does that work? It sounds like smoothing things out.
It is exactly that. It's a clever scheduling method designed for the efficient use of both personnel and equipment. Instead of producing large batches of one product type, then switching to another large batch.
Which causes big inventory swings and long lead times for some products.
Right. Hijunka aims to intertwine different products and variations within the production schedule over a shorter period, maybe a shift, an hour, even down to a minute in some cases. You might make product A, then B, then C, then A again, in small quantities.
And the diagrams in the source material really show the difference, don't they?
They do. They beautifully illustrate how leveling smooths out the workload on people and machines, reduces inventory, shortens lead times for all products, and dramatically increases flexibility compared to those traditional big batch methods.
And that concept of small batches or even single pieces moving,
Yeah.
that leads directly to continuous flow, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Continuous flow, sometimes called one-piece flow, is about sequencing parts or products in a one-for-one process. Ideally, one part goes through a step and is immediately passed to the next step without waiting in a queue.
What are the benefits of achieving that?
Oh, they're significant. This approach fundamentally minimizes work in process, WIP inventory between steps. It eliminates bottlenecks because problems become immediately visible. It highlights defects faster. It dramatically shortens lead times. And it allows for efficient use of cross-trained workers who might follow the part through several steps.
And the sources contrast the lead times.
Yes, they give an example where a traditional batch manufacturing order might take 30 minutes or more to get through several steps, whereas the same order in a continuous flow system might take only 12 minutes. Huge difference.
Wow. Okay. And for the physical layout of the workspace to support this flow, cellular manufacturing comes up.
Right. Cellular manufacturing is a key application of flow principles to the physical factory layout. It involves organizing facilities into dedicated production cells, often U-shaped.
Well,
The U-shape minimizes walking distance and allows operators, often cross-trained, to handle multiple machines or process steps within the cell easily. The equipment within the cell is arranged in the exact production sequence for a specific product family.
So the goal is continuous flow within the cell.
Exactly. Continuous flow, minimum WIP, maximum flexibility. It allows operators to run multiple machines efficiently, increases flexibility to handle different product variations within the family, and drastically reduces things like scrap and transportation waste compared to traditional departmental layouts.
Okay. Now, thinking about how materials actually move through the system, the sources contrast, push versus pull systems. What's the difference?
It's fundamental. In a traditional push system, you make stuff based on a forecast and push it to the next step, whether they need it right then or not. This often leads to overproduction and lots of inventory.
Right.
Pull manufacturing, on the other hand, is a production system where resources flow based on actual consumption. You only replace what has been used by the next step downstream. Materials are moved only when the next stage signals that it needs them.
So it's driven by actual demand for the next process or ultimately the customer.
Precisely. This approach inherently eliminates overproduction, the biggest waste. It tightly controls inventory levels. It synchronizes production across different stages. It quickly identifies bottlenecks because if a downstream process stops pulling, the upstream process stops producing. It creates a truly customer-driven system.
And to manage that pull signal, there's a specific tool called Kanban.
Right. Yes. Kanban is the classic tool used to regulate that flow in a pull system. It acts as a signal, often a physical card, but it can be electronic or just an empty bin indicating what is needed, when it's needed, and how much is needed.
So it's the signal that authorizes production or movement.
Exactly. The sources describe different types. A withdrawal Kanban acts like a voucher authorizing movement of parts from a storage area or supermarket to the point of use. A production Kanban is an order authorizing a process to produce a specific quantity of parts. And a signal Kanban is used in some systems to alert when a reorder point for a batch of items has been reached.
Are there key principles for using Kanban effectively?
Yes, two critical ones highlighted are: never produce more product than the amount taken by the downstream process, i.e. only produce when signaled by a Kanban, and only produce and convey when there's a Kanban card or signal. It imposes discipline on the pull system.
Okay. All these tools we've discussed, flow, pull, Kanban, leveling, they really seem to culminate in just-in-time JIT manufacturing.
Yeah.
How do the sources define JIT?
They define JIT quite simply but powerfully, making what the customer needs, when they need it, in the quantity needed, using the absolute least effort, materials, equipment, machinery, and space. It's the ideal state these other tools help you achieve.
And has three core principles.
Yes. The sources state its three essence principles are takt time, flow production, and pull systems. We've touched on flow and pull already.
Let's talk about takt time then. That sounds critical for pacing.
It is absolutely critical. Takt time is the required pace of production needed to meet customer demand. It's essentially the heartbeat of a lean system. It's the available production time per period divided by the customer demand per period.
So it dictates how often one unit needs to be completed.
Exactly. Its calculation is elegantly simple. Total daily operating time divided by total daily customer production requirement. The sources give a great example. Smith's Small Manufacturing Company. They have 135,000 seconds of operating time per day and need to produce 7,600 units. So, 135,000 divided by 7,600 gives a takt time of about 18 seconds per unit. That means, to meet customer demand, one completed unit needs to come off the line every 18 seconds.
And that directly dictates resource needs.
Absolutely. If a particular process step consistently takes, say, 34 seconds to complete, you immediately know you need 2 operators or 2 machines dedicated to that step to maintain the 18-second takt. It drives decisions about staffing, equipment, and workflow balance.
Okay, that's clear. Now, the area that seems like it could offer surprising gains is setup reduction. Reducing the time equipment is down between running different products.
Hugely important, especially for enabling smaller batches and flexibility. Setup reduction, often called SMAD, single-minute exchange of die, focuses on dramatically cutting that non-productive changeover time.
How does it work? Does it distinguish between types of tasks?
Yes, a key distinction is between online tasks, or internal tasks, those that can only be done when the equipment is stopped, and offline tasks, or external tasks, those that can be prepared while the equipment is still running the previous job. The goal is to convert as many internal tasks to external as possible and then streamline the remaining internal tasks.
And this fits.
Reducing setup times directly supports lean principles. It increases available production time, boosts scheduling flexibility because you can change over more often, and allows for much smaller batch sizes, which reduces inventory and lead times.
And the sources had a case study on this.
They did. A company saved over $700,000 annually just by reducing changeover time on a key piece of equipment by only 10 minutes from 1 hour down to 50 minutes. Given they did 40 changeovers a week, those 10 minutes added up incredibly quickly. Imagine the impact.
Wow, 10 minutes saving that much. That's impressive. Okay, what about tackling inventory directly? There's something called inventory reduction, IQR, inventory quality ratio mentioned.
Right. IQR isn't just about randomly cutting inventory numbers. It's described as a comprehensive, systematic practice that was actually developed by a group of 35 materials managers.
How does it work?
It involves systematically analyzing inventory based on its balance, cost, usage frequency, and applying ABC classification techniques. It then categorizes inventory into different quality levels: active, needed for current demand; excess, more than needed but still moving; slow moving; and no moving, obsolete. This helps focus reduction efforts where they'll have the most impact.
And the results were significant.
The documented benefits were quite impressive. The inventory quality ratio itself doubled in 9 months. In one case, they achieved a 35% reduction in excess inventory, realized $3.8 million in inventory savings, and doubled the availability of the active inventory they actually needed. So, less bad inventory, more good inventory.
Okay, that makes sense. Finally, in the toolbox, a really powerful concept for quality. Mistake error proofing, also known as poka-yoke.
Poka-yoke. Developed by Shigeo Shingo at Toyota. It's a methodology aimed squarely at achieving 0 defects. Not just catching defects, but preventing them.
How? By making errors impossible.
Ideally, yes. By improving processes and designs to either make errors physically impossible to commit or to make them immediately obvious if they do occur, preventing defective parts from ever passing downstream.
Can you give an example?
The source gives a simple one. Designing a part with an interference pin or a specific shape so it can only be installed in the correct orientation. Think about USB connectors. They generally only go in one way. That's a form of poka-yoke. Fuel nozzles for diesel versus gasoline are another common example.
And the core principle here.
The fundamental principle is crucial. Stop blaming people for errors. Instead, look at the process and design. How can we change the system so the error cannot happen or is immediately detected? Focus on the process, not the person.
It really is quite remarkable how interconnected all these tools are, isn't it? Applying one, like 5S, really does seem to make others, like visual management or standardized work, much easier to implement. It creates this powerful ripple effect.
Absolutely. They build on each other. You clean up with 5S, you suddenly see the waste VSM helps you map, you standardize the work, which makes deviations and thus defects easier to spot, enabling Jidoka and Pokeyoke. It's a system.
And this really raises an important question for you listening. For your own challenges, maybe in your work or even personal projects, which of these tools feels most approachable to start with? Which one sparked an immediate idea for application?
That's a great point to ponder because often the biggest improvements don't come from tackling the most complex thing first. Sometimes, starting with something foundational like 5S can have a surprisingly large impact, precisely because it exposes other issues and builds momentum.
Okay, so with all these improvements happening and these sophisticated tools being used, how do organizations actually measure their success? How do they know if their operational excellence initiatives are working?
Well, the sources provide a pretty clear list of key lean metrics that really tell the story. Things like value added percentage, how much time is actually spent adding value versus waiting or waste, DI delivery in full, on time, a key customer satisfaction metric, inventory turns, or that IQR we just discussed, OEE, overall equipment effectiveness, throughput, how much product is actually getting through the system, first time through capability percentage of units making it through a process without defects or rework, safety metrics, obviously critical, cycle time reduction, and equipment utilization based on actual customer demand, not just running flat out.
So hard, quantifiable numbers.
Yes, but beyond just the internal process numbers, there's also understanding the customer perspective more deeply. The sources mention the Kano model.
Kano. How does that fit in?
It's incredibly useful, especially at the design stage, for understanding customer needs beyond just what they explicitly ask for. It helps you get into the mind of the customer, to uncover latent or unspoken needs, things they might not even realize they want until you offer them.
How does it categorize needs?
It typically categorizes features or quality attributes into three main types. Basic factors, things customers absolutely expect. Their absence causes dissatisfaction, but their presence doesn't delight. Performance factors, things where more is generally better, satisfaction increases linearly with performance. And excitement factors, the unexpected delighters. Their absence doesn't cause dissatisfaction, but their presence creates real positive buzz and loyalty. Understanding this helps prioritize development efforts.
That's a really interesting way to think about customer value. Now, beyond internal metrics and customer models, there's also significant external recognition for performance excellence, right? Awards and things.
Absolutely. Achieving true operational excellence often gets recognized through prestigious awards. The sources mention several.
Like the Baldrige Award in the U.S.
Yes, the Baldrige Award, the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award. It was created by an act of Congress back in 1987 and is the highest level of national recognition for performance excellence in the U.S. It's incredibly rigorous, evaluating organizations across 7 detailed categories: leadership, strategic planning, customer focus, measurement analysis knowledge management, workforce focus, process management, and crucially, business results.
So it's very comprehensive.
Extremely. Then there's the Shingo Prize, established a year later in 1988. Its focus is very much on promoting lean manufacturing principles and recognizing world-class organizations in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico that demonstrate excellence through focused operational improvements.
And internationally.
The sources mention the New Zealand Business Excellence Award as an example, administered by the NZBEF, noting it has similarly rigorous conditions and evaluation processes, often benchmarked against the Baldrige criteria.
And the sources also give some concrete real-world examples from publications like Industry Week's Best Plans, showing what these levels of performance look like.
They do, and these really bring it to life. Cargill Corn Milling, for instance, achieving 99.9% on-time delivery and 98.2% finished goods first-pass yield. That's incredible consistency.
Yeah.
Or Lockheed Martin's Orlando facility boasting 100% on-time delivery. As the sources emphasize, metrics tell the tale. They also highlight industry-wide improvements seen in award winners, like median scrapper work cost dropping dramatically, often below 0.5% of sales, and significant reductions in order-to-shipment lead times. A median reduction of 41% over 5 years was cited.
Those aren't minor tweaks, they're transformational results.
Exactly. These awards and the detailed metrics behind them aren't just about getting a trophy. They powerfully underscore the tangible, quantifiable benefits that come from this relentless pursuit of higher standards. They show what world-class truly looks like and demonstrate what's genuinely possible when these operational excellence principles are fully embraced. They offer a benchmark for others to aspire to.
Okay, so we've covered the what defining excellence and a lot of the how, the frameworks and the tools. But what about making it actually happen in the real world? How do organizations effectively implement and, just as importantly, sustain these powerful, sometimes quite disruptive changes? This is often where things fall down, isn't it?
It absolutely is. The human and organizational element is critical. The sources really boil it down to two key aspects here: doing the right things, strategy, and leading change.
Strategy and leadership. Okay.
Strategy is about figuring out what truly makes a difference, which improvement efforts will give the best results, how do we resource them effectively, and then, crucially, how do we actually make it happen? It's the planning and prioritization piece.
And leading change.
Leading change. That's deeply human. It's about inspiring people. It's about clearly providing a compelling vision of success. Where are we going and why should people want to come along? It's about understanding what motivates different people, finding the right buttons to push, so to speak. And perhaps most importantly, it's about leading by example. Managers need to walk the talk. It's the difference between just issuing a mandate and actually building a real movement for change within the organization.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
The sources also outline what they call a lean formulae for success, don't they? Emphasizing that it's fundamentally all about the people.
Yes, it breaks it down quite nicely. First, ideas. Empowering teams, especially those doing the work, to develop their own ideas on how to eliminate waste. The best solutions often come from the front lines.
Right.
Then, communication. Everyone needs to be in the loop constantly. They need to know the goals, understand the changes, celebrate the successes, and yes, even understand the failures or setbacks openly.
Oh.
Fostering that open dialogue.
Like asking specific questions.
Exactly. Questions like, here's what we are doing. What do you think? Do you have any ideas? How can we make this better? What problems are you seeing that we can solve? Here's where we're going. Keeping that conversation flowing, this builds culture. The aim is creating a genuine, continuous improvement culture where new ideas are always welcomed, explored, and tested, not shot down. You also need to observe, really understanding the current situation firsthand. Go and see. Analyze the data. Don't just rely on assumptions or reports. And underpinning it all is teamwork. Forming dedicated improvement teams, crucially involving the people who actually perform the work every single day. Their insights and buy-in are absolutely invaluable.
Ideas, communication, culture, observe, teamwork. That seems like a solid foundation.
And building on that, the sources offer a very pragmatic rollout plan. It's a step-by-step approach that really highlights the importance of empowerment and consistent follow-through.
How does that plan work?
Well, it suggests starting by creating cross-functional champions teams. Then, carefully picking initial focus areas. Don't try to boil the ocean. Impart necessary lean training. Critically, measure before you start fixing so you have a baseline. Document the issues, improvement ideas, and specific goals.
And empowering operators.
Yes, this is key. Empower operators to become team leaders for improvements in their areas. It even suggests having managers become operators temporarily to truly understand the work at the ground level. Then, have sub-teams identify maybe the top 10 problems in their area and tackle them systematically, fix one problem at a time.
One at a time, focus.
Focus. Then, measure the success and continually monitor. Don't just implement and walk away. Once successful, begin new teams in other areas, spreading the approach. And finally, a really important step. Allow the teams to present their successes directly to senior management and publicly reward them. This recognition fosters ownership, motivation, and celebrates the wins.
That sounds like a very practical, grounded approach. This entire journey seems to culminate in what the sources call a roadmap to achieving a lean manufacturing enterprise. It really reinforces that idea we mentioned earlier. Lean is a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. It's an ongoing process. The roadmap lays out a logical progression. First, deeply assess your current processes and truly understand your customers' desires, maybe using tools like VSM and Kano we talked about. Then, secure that solid senior management buy-in and develop profound knowledge of your own processes.
Crucial first steps.
Absolutely. Next, strategically apply the lean tools we've discussed to your critical high-impact processes. Get some early wins. From there, spread the implementation to auxiliary and support areas, aiming for a fully integrated process flow across the organization. The journey doesn't stop at your own walls. Implement lean principles collaboratively with your suppliers upstream and your downstream supply chain partners, including your customers where appropriate.
Extending it outwards.
Yes. And finally, perhaps the most advanced stage, apply lean thinking and tools into your offline and non-manufacturing areas, engineering, design, marketing, sales, HR, finance. It truly transforms the entire enterprise when it reaches that level.
What an incredible deep dive that was. We've really covered a huge amount of ground on operational excellence in the Lean MBA framework. Everything from defining what business excellence actually means and its myriad benefits to understanding a powerful unifying framework like Lean MBA, tracing the evolution of all those different excellent systems, and exploring that truly comprehensive toolbox of methodologies and practical tools. We also looked at how success is measured and recognized both internally and externally. And critically, we dug into the human and organizational strategies needed for actually leading and managing this kind of profound change. Understanding these principles and tools, it can genuinely equip you with powerful capabilities for analysis, problem solving, and continuous improvement, really in any context, couldn't it? Not just traditional manufacturing.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to remember, while some of the terminology might seem complex or like jargon at first, the underlying principles of operational excellence are often profoundly logical and very human-centered, actually.
How so?
Well, they're fundamentally focused on continuous learning, on the systematic elimination of frustration and waste, and at their very core, on demonstrating a deep respect for the people doing the work and the customers being served.
That's a great way to frame it. Okay, so to leave you with a final thought, something for your own exploration based on everything we've discussed. If waste is anything that does not add value to your product or service, as the sources state, how might identifying and consciously eliminating some of the hidden wastes in your own daily routines, your work, or maybe even your personal projects unlock surprising new levels of efficiency and perhaps even fulfillment for you? Something to ponder.